Let's just jump right into it. Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a really incredible story. We're looking at the journey of a British businessman named James. And look, this isn't just your standard biography. We're breaking down the actual anatomy of what builds a legacy, in business and honestly, just in life. We've dug through all the source material to pull out the core elements of his journey so we can trace how a super humble beginning turned into a massive masterclass in entrepreneurship, grit, and humanity. So let's get into it. Right off the bat, we need to ask the big one. What is true success? Seriously, how do you define it? Is it just having a massive bank account? Is it being famous all over the world? Or is it something a little deeper? I want you to keep this exact question in the back of your mind as we go through this analysis today. Because James's story, it actually gives us a very specific, incredibly actionable answer to that exact question. Section 1. A small start. So going back to chapter 1 of James's life, he had very little money when he started his business. And, today, a lack of cash is almost always treated as this total deal breaker, right? People constantly say, well, without a huge seed round or rich investors, you literally can't get an idea off the ground. But James, he absolutely refused to let an empty wallet dictate his future. He didn't start at the top. Actually, scratch that. He started at the absolute bottom. His journey is the perfect proof that humble beginnings are, well, just beginnings. They definitely don't define where you're going to end up. So, if he didn't have money, what was he actually investing? According to the sources, his true assets were three things: hard work, courage, and a really big dream. When you're completely out of cash, your mindset and your sheer determination basically have to become your currency. James took that immense courage and his massive dream and used them as fuel to push through those brutal early days. Days where, honestly, most other people would have just thrown in the towel. Section 2. Hard work and honesty. Let's look at how those invisible assets translated into the daily grind, because this was for sure not an overnight success story. On a daily basis, James was waking up incredibly early, putting in the grueling hours. Over the months, he faced what every business faces: wild swings of profit and steep losses. But he never lost his nerve during the downturns. And eventually, over the years, all that consistent daily effort compounded. It snowballed into a highly famous, widely recognized business. But here's the thing. There was one rule he never, ever compromised on, and that was honesty. And for James, honesty wasn't just some corporate buzzword. It literally meant always treating customers with absolute fairness and integrity, no matter what was happening behind the scenes. Through all those stressful profit and loss cycles we just talked about, this was the rule he simply never broke. Even if the business was actively losing money that month, the customer was treated right. Period. That unshakable integrity became the absolute bedrock of his reputation. Section 3. Success and goodness. So what happens when a business finally hits it big and generates serious wealth? Well, James didn't just hoard it all for personal use or buy a bunch of flashy luxuries. Instead, he actively distributed it. He channeled a huge chunk of his profits into helping the needy, and he specifically took on the heavy expenses of funding education for poor children. He basically used his success to elevate people who were stuck in the exact same difficult financial spot he was in when he first started. It's just a really beautiful cycle of giving back. Section 4. The real secret. Now, this kind of staggering success and wild generosity obviously made people super curious. One day, a close friend actually asked him point blank, "What is the true secret to all your achievements?" And James just smiled and said this: "Work hard, work honestly, and after achieving success, don't forget others." It's such a simple sentence, right? But it perfectly captures his entire life philosophy. Notice there's no complex corporate strategy here, no secret marketing hack. It's just a deeply moral, fundamentally human approach to doing business. Which means his big secret is actually an actionable 3-step formula that literally any aspiring entrepreneur can adopt right now. Step 1, work hard. Get up early. Step 2, work honestly. Keep your integrity intact whether you're up or down. And step 3, remember others once you've made it. Share the wealth. If you strip away all the noise and complexity of the modern business world, you're left with this completely bulletproof formula for a well-lived life. Let's tie this all together. There's the standard, kind of superficial view of success, which is just about earning money and hoarding wealth for yourself. But James gives us a much more profound conclusion. True success is actually about making others' lives better. It's about using your achievements as a literal tool to lift up your community. Which brings us right back to you.
We started this explainer by asking what true success is, and I want to leave you with a direct challenge. Whose life will you make better with your success? As you go out there to build your own projects, advance your career, or start a business, keep James's 3-step formula in your back pocket. Let that question linger with you today. Thank you so much for hanging out with me for this explainer. I've absolutely loved breaking this story down, and I hope it helps you see your own potential in a totally new light.